Okay, my friends, times have changed. This was a video I did 7 years ago talking about these creatures that were frozen in stone by the ancient gods. And I sort of understood it, but I don't think I conveyed it very well because it was not accepted well. Now, this is tendon, this white stuff right here. This is blood and actual muscle coming down and running off. And this is what the coating actually became stone a very long time ago. This is not recent. Now, this right here is from the, the muscles and so forth, and the tendons in his shoulder. Now, they did try to fix him a couple times. They put some iron rebar up in here and plaster and so forth, but you can easily see it here. I have some other shots I'm going to show you. Then, in addition, in here, I went to this guy here. Now, I'm going to, and I showed all this and tried to explain it, and people are, oh, his hair wouldn't do this and so forth, and yada, yada, yada. Well, I can see the signatures of biology and the colors and the textures and so forth. And I believe this guy was frozen in stone by the gods. Now, there's a whole bunch of stories about this was only created 100 years ago or 500 years ago. Well, we all have records of all this. Well, I found out these records do not hold up. I look and see what I see. Now, let's take a close look at this and a couple other ones that I say were preserved by the gods for their pleasure, exactly as Ovid wrote. All right, the Garden of the Gods, all that stuff was, he wrote about it. Well, hold on. Now, this on the other side of this is the earth up above. This is in a cave. So I would consider this part of the natural landscape. And this right here, you see this? And you see this? All these little strappy things, you see the little artery running through there, and that's what it is. It's a little blood passage, and this is tissue eroding from the inside of a body of a creature. And this is a caver, and she's in there walking through thinking, wow, look at this stuff. I can't remember what they call that, but this is almost like strips of bacon almost. All right, this is one of the most underreported, most important texts in history. This was written at the time of Julius Caesar, and it was from a guy named Ovid, O-V-I-D. It's called Metamorphosis, which means to transition from one thing into something else. And the gods could do that to anything they wanted, to anybody they wanted, or to themselves. Now, these are all from the ancient Greeks and the Latin and so forth. And there was 250 myth books, or myths, that he figured out, and he wrote 15 books, 11,995 lines. All right, so this was an epic work. Well, for an epic, although it meets some of the criteria for an epic, the poem simply genre classification because of its varying themes. No, he was telling the story of what the early myth, which is not myth. All right, and he wrote it out so people could understand what they were saying. Whether they believed him or not, probably not. But he started out with book 1, the creation, ages of mankind, Deucalion and the flood. Deucalion was Noah. And it comes all the way down through all of these historical figures, Perseus, Andromeda, And this was all true stuff. Now they make it sound like it was silly, but this is so deep and detailed. You know, Hercules, and I mean just all of them, every one of them, Achilles, on and on and on, Ajax, Ulysses, and then the first two lines, in nova fert animus mutatus duceris corpora, which means I intend to speak of forms changed into new entities. That's line 1 and 2. Accompanying this theme is often violence inflicted upon a victim whose transformation becomes part of the natural landscape. These were gigantic creatures. They could make other gigantic creatures into the landscape. The theme of and then they talk about, oh, this is just all silly nonsense. No, he was changed. They could change them, and there is a great variety among the types of transformations that took place. They could go from animals to inanimate objects like the Nile River or who knows what. They could become constellations. They could go into becoming animals or plants. They could change from animals into ants and fungus and mushrooms into humans, from one sex to another, from one color to another, and pebbles. They could be anything they wanted. They controlled matter. All right, and metamorphosis, that was the whole theme of this whole thing, was that's why they were so powerful. And that's why this is so insane. They could actually control matter, and they're still around here somewhere because they don't die. Where are they? What are they doing? I don't know. I have read some stories about in the Gnostic texts about Jesus possibly taking away some of their powers so that they can't get to each other in the heavens anymore, which there were battles in the heavens before. Now, I don't know if that, I don't, at that point, it's all becomes theoretical. I'm not a theoretical guy. I'm a physical guy. This you can read. My stuff you can see. All right, so I've shown stuff like that. That's biological. That right there is from a gigantic, gigantic creature. And even in space, I've shown all this stuff over and over and over. And it's just too much for academics to accept that you can get blood out of a stone. That's a heart. That's the red blood side. That's where the black blood is. And this is where the serum blends together. It's a black, yellow, and red. And this is where they went up. And see that black? That black on top is like painted on there. They don't mix together, the black and the red. That's why you get iron banding and they pop apart. And you only get the inside of hearts in space. You see, that's the inside of the heart. That's what a heart looks like if you took out the plumbing off the top. You get right to here. And it does. It pops right off because of the iron banding, which goes right around here. And I've shown that over and over and over as well. You see how the black stays away from the red before the blue it turns black in the mud fossils. They just went snapped and this just floats off into space, and that is what we are looking down into the valves that control the flow of blood in and out. And they're very, very easy. I mean, just you can't miss it. Plus, then you got other things like hip joints in space. Shown that bazillion times. Comic 67p. I showed the arteries, showed the tendons, showed everything. And the chemistry is there as well. It's polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. It has all of the different oxidation states of the blood, and the whole, there's just no missing this. It can't be missed. It cannot be missed. There's tubes coming out of that. That's not craters. tubes. Tubes. Another one here. Those are heart valves. Those are the colors. And they're going out to here because there's a ton of metals, because there's a ton of metals in blood. And I've shown all the other bits and pieces, and they came back from Bennu with heart sarcomeres, just like this heart. These are heart sarcomeres right here. And the membranes. And this is here on Earth, been here for 2 years, and they still won't admit what it is. They know, they can see it. They say, admit it has all the stuff I'm saying. It's all the amino acids and all of the things that are biological. And it has the layers of these phosphates, which they never expected. And it has the bundles of muscle, which they never expected. It has the sarcomeres, which they never expected. And that's because they went deep inside and actually grabbed a chunk of the actual muscle. And it's like clay. And I think it's still got moisture in here. I mean, this could be like viable flesh. In space, it's probably cold enough, unless it gets close to the sun and starts getting cooked. If you got down inside of here, you're going to have some wet flesh. I mean, it's got to have wet and a lot of wetness to be blowing off like that. And that is going to be pointed at the sun, because the sun is here cooking it off. And that's what they're talking about, 3IA asteroid is something unusual, because they're shooting rays out towards the sun. Well, that's going to be towards the sun too. So, and it's shooting that big thing out of here, 500 feet across, is the artery. All right, these are big, 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 big things out there. And the Earth is made of big, 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 big things too. Those little layers of tissue. I think it's time we start re-examining the top of a heart. That's where the plumbing is. It came right off the bottom of the heart, which is right there. It was right up on top. He hit it with a hammer, bam, and it's just opened right up. That's what they do, because it's iron banding. You know, I see a big opportunity here. This guy got a hold of me. His name is Derby. And he's doing, he's kind of, he's doing kids sort of stuff, it looks like to me. I don't know him. I haven't talked to him hardly. I think I talked to him once. And, but he does this AI. He's a video guy. He makes videos. And he's just getting started. He's only got a few subscribers. And I'm hoping I can work with him so he can make things for kids to show them and incorporate my stuff into that, so that they, because the older people, they're done as far as I'm concerned. That's it. They baked and cooked and done, and that's the end of them. These kids, when they see what I'm going to show, I think they're going to be impressed. Kids have open minds. They're just starting. Once your mind is sealed and locked, it's tough to get it. It's called menticide. Let me just give you a little more about Derby, and then I'm going to show you his video. Hold on. All right, my friends. I have a guy contacted me, and he wants to sort of incorporate AI and some visual stuff, digital stuff, into my, bringing my work to life. In other words, I'm showing Caesar here. I will explain what the whole deal is, and then he's going to bring it to life, that kind of thing. And he did one right here, Sleeping Rocks, Guardians of Nature. Let me show you that. Now, this is his channel, Uncharted Digital Hub. He's just getting started. He's only got 6 subscribers. Got 15 videos up there, but he's going to be doing, we talked, and we're going to have to get back together again. And I want him to do this, yes. He did a pretty nice job. So you have to see what you think. And he's going to have all kinds of stuff up here that won't relate to my stuff necessarily. I mean, quite a bit won't. But he's got a nice way about him. I'll show you. You see what you think. Okay, I'm kind of excited about this. Now, he's got things in here I don't necessarily agree with, and this is one of them. This is not an elephant. But that's when we collaborate. Hopefully, if we can collaborate, and I think that's what he's asking for, and I am too. We could show my things where I present the evidence to support what it actually is, and then he can morph that into who knows what. And he's a morpher. Watch this. Nice music too.
Mountains sleep in stony grace, shadows of an ancient race. Giants turn to earth and dust, bound by ages a silent trust. Fossil dreams in sun-baked lands, carved by unsifted sands. A timeless vigil, deep and old, a whispered story yet untold. But now they stir the ancient might, awakening to fading light. Stone hearts beat, defying years, conquering forgotten fears. Living on forever grand, eternal legends hand in hand. From sleeping rock they break free to claim their endless destiny. The silent earth begins to quake, for their long slumber now to break. Cracked ground sighs a solemn sound, as life reborn on hallowed ground. From deep repose they rise anew, beneath the vast and endless blue. A monumental slow ascent, a promise from the firmament. And now they stir the ancient might, awakening to fading light. Stone hearts beat, defying years, conquering forgotten fears. Living on forever grand, eternal legends hand in hand. From sleeping rock they break free to claim their endless destiny. Millennia could not erase their primal power, their sacred space. Whispers of what used to be now walk again, eternally defying every passing tide. With timeless spirits deep inside, they stand as monuments to fate. A boundless life they now create, a silent roar across the sky, witnessing ages passing by.
That's fabulous, huh?